Hi, this is Shu with a review of the Luka 1, the hotly anticipated Doncic signature shoe, the first one by the Jordan brand. A nice colorway. I think the design is very Luka-ish. If you experience the elevation, separation, the master shooter something, yeah, this did not go with that naming. It just goes with Luka 1. They're boasting this new foam called the Formula 23, but it feels not much different from the React that was used in the Hyperset or the Hyperdunk 2017. So from 2017 to 2022, they seem to have not made much of a drastic progress in terms of the foam cushioning technology. It just feels like doesn't feel much different from an Adidas Bounce. But the worst part of the shoe is that it's so minimal. So low to the ground, you barely feel it working. If you feel a slight level of comfort when you put on this shoe, it's mainly coming from the insole, which is not even that thick, so that's going to disappear soon. If you think back to the Hyper Sets or the Hyper Dunks, the first React Nike basketball shoes, they actually had a very substantial insole that acted as some much needed reinforcement for the lack of cushioning for these first React models. So how is this different from React? Educate me. I don't feel it. Maybe it's because they use so little of that. I don't know how thin this is, but it feels like basically, the Kyrie 2, 3s, and 4s where there's a slight bit of heel cushioning and pretty much nothing on the forefoot. It feels slightly better than that, but it feels inferior to the bounce cushioning that we've had in Adidas shoes or the light strike cushioning we've had in Adidas shoes. So it feels like an inferior version of the Harden 4s or the Dame series with the bounce and light strike cushioning. The heel especially, it feels like there's very dangerously minimal amount of shock absorption in the heel. So if you're a large guy or if you like to heel strike or land on your heel hard, you'll feel you'll feel the impact. You'll feel one with the ground, I suppose. Feel closer to nature. You feel the ages, the durability being shaved off your joints or something like that. So I think this is a very bad shoe in terms of shock absorption. So the cushioning, I would say this is very bad. Again, I remind you, try the shoe without the insole. You'll feel there's pretty much nothing there. The insole kind of complements the cushioning a little bit, but basically it's non-existent. Formula 23 is, to me, maybe they didn't use enough, or maybe the density is wrong for this, but it feels like a gimmick, just a new name. It feels even worse than the Jordan Delta 3, which introduced the Formula 23 for the first time. That's a casual shoe. Even that had a more substantial amount of foam that you could actually feel. That is, it's a little bit different from React. It feels like a cross between React and Bounce, but this is horrible. The size it fits, it's very roomy, very unlike previous Doncic shoes. There's a lot of dead space on top of the toe box. That's something you might want to keep in mind. I would suggest, going through the size. If you want a firm one-to-one fit, you might want to go down half a size. Even if you don't have a narrow fit, you can actually go down half a size. That's how roomy this shoe is. For a size 9, for a size 8.5, it weighs about 366 grams, and I think that's not exactly on the light side for a shoe that's this minimal. There's a lot of padding all around the shoe. The fly wire, they look fancy, but I don't know what exactly they do other than make the shoe a lot more suffocating. The breathability of the shoe is very bad, suffocating. But it's well padded all around. That's a nice thing. The heel cup is there, and the heel lockdown is fairly nice. I didn't feel that much of heel slippage. Quite a departure from the recent models like KD15 where I felt a little bit insecure. But of course, the heel lockdown, the heel counterfeit is different from person to person depending on the shape of your foot. So always try it. Don't just listen to other people's reviews. Personally, I felt this was pretty good. The lockdown padding is nice all around. You don't feel any pinching sensation anywhere, and that's nice. And the outsole pattern is very good. This is a nice variation from sort of like a cross between a Kobe 9 and Zoom Crusader traction, if you know what I'm saying. So the traction is fairly good. If you remember the Rose 9s, they had a nice thin blade traction that was good, but in the middle of it they had that rose logo, which kind of took up a lot of space and a little bit bulgy, and it's a little bit bolder than the other part, so that pivot point was a little slippery, so that was a fatal flaw. But thankfully they did not do anything stupid like this with the Luka ones. The traction is pretty even Steven all around, so good traction. And this little plasticky bit that's supposed to provide that extra torsion, I didn't feel anything spectacular, but it's better than having nothing or having something that intrudes or disrupts the cushioning or the movement of your foot. The midfoot shank goes all the way up to the lateral side, and it's in this area where it's not pinching your pinky, because a lot of times we've had this somewhere here where you would hurt your pinky toenails. So this is a nice placement here, and the outrigger and the plastic reinforcements get the job done in terms of providing that stoppage you need in terms of preventing ankle rolling. So that is very good in terms of that, especially because the shoe is so low to the ground. But yeah, the complaint I have about the insole is that this is a very shiny. This is the kind of fabric you use when you want to print something fancy all over the shoe. So this is for printing, not suede at all. It's kind of slippery. There's a lot of friction. There's like zero friction here, so you probably prefer an insole that is a little bit furry, a little bit suede, so that it hugs and forms to the shape of your toes on your foot, and you feel a little bit more secure. So this material is a no-no. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's a deal breaker for me. Personally, this is a shoe that's something that you might want to get if you want to celebrate Luka Doncic, his greatness, his first maiden signature shoe. It's a keeper in that sense, but this is, in my opinion, traction is good, but in terms of cushioning, this is an inferior version. This is much inferior to the plain old React midsole we've had in the PG6. So if you don't care about cushioning, if you don't need shock absorptions, just need good traction, and you like this design, go for it. The price point is fairly low, like slightly over $100, and that's something that's nice being done by Luka. I remember when KD used to sell the shoes for like under $90, and he wanted everyone to be able to afford it. And one day he got a bit big-headed and said, "I'm not a $90 player. I deserve $150." Like, yeah, not anymore. You're not even worth $90 now, KD. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for Luka 1. Unimpressive as I expected. The cushioning basically non-existent.